Meanwhile, the Nigerian Air Force has announced that air operations by the air component of Operation Hadinkai killed scores of terrorists and destroyed an insurgent enclave in Borno State. This was disclosed today in Abuja by Air Commodore Ehimen Ejodame, the Air Force Director of Public Relations and Information. Air Commodore Ejodame said the precision strikes were carried out on Wednesday at around 10:50 a.m. in Bula Madibale, Gezua area. According to him, intelligence and surveillance had detected unusual movement at the location where about 45 terrorists were observed converging, some arriving on motorcycles and bicycles from different directions. Acting on these intelligence, the air component launched targeted strikes that eliminated several terrorists and destroyed the flag structure along with other assets used by the insurgents. He added that the operation disrupted the terrorists' ability to regroup, reinforce or launch further attacks on communities in the northeast. In a recent development, video footage has emerged of a notorious commander of the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, Gentle the Yahoo, with real names Ifeanyi Okorincha, claiming that the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, once met with him and his fellow commanders, asking them to work for him. The video now trending on social media, based on recent reports of Gentle's capture by Nigerian troops, is believed to have been recorded a few months ago on April 15, 2025. Let's take a listen to the Ipob commander speaking on these developments, where he talked about how the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma engaged him and others to work for him and also to attack his opponents.
Understand the kind of barbarism human being, the kind of leader that calls himself a leader. Hope Uzodinma, you try to engage us to work for you. Hope Uzodinma, you promised us that you will give us oil well to control. Hope Uzodinma, you try to engage us to work for you in area of kidnapping, assassination, by attacking your opposition parties. Hope Uzodinma, you told us that you want us to set Agwo Tuaka of Mbano so that you can be able to become a governor. And whenever you become a governor, that Hope Uzodinma, you ask us to go and attack our own brother, a Biafra man, being what is that his name? You remember, you told us that we should go and attack Ugoshinyere, but we said no.
Supporters of Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State trooped to the government house in Port Harcourt in the early morning today to welcome back the governor and his deputy, Ngozi Odu. President Bola Tinubu had suspended Governor Fubara for 6 months at the height of the political crisis in Rivers State. But on Wednesday, the president lifted the emergency rule and directed the governor, his deputy, and House of Assembly members to resume work today. Meanwhile, the former sole administrator of the state, Rear Admiral Ete Ibas, has officially announced the handing over of government to Fubara. The Rivers State House of Assembly has also prepared to resume sitting today. Sources say the assembly, led by Speaker Honorable Martin Amewule, will hold its sitting at the Assembly Residential Complex along the Aba-Port Harcourt Expressway. VP News gathered that the 27 lawmakers returned to the state several days before the expiration of the state of emergency rule, which had been imposed by President Bola Tinubu and suspended democratic governance in Rivers. The lawmakers who already residing in the Assembly Residential Complex were preparing to convene for their first sitting. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, has revealed that the federal government disbursed 330 billion naira to 8.5 million poor households under its conditional cash transfer program. Speaking with journalists in Abuja, Edun said each household received at least one tranche of 25,000 naira through the National Social Safety Net Coordinating Office, NASCO. He said some households got one tranche while others received 2 or 3 payments. The World Bank had approved $800 million for the Bola Tinubu administration to fund the initiative, which targets 15 million poor households with 3 installments of 25,000 naira each. In May, the bank criticized the scheme, noting that only 37% of targeted households had been reached 2 years after the program began. At the time, the bank said 5.6 million households had received payment out of the planned 15 million. Wale Edun said initial challenges with linking national identity numbers, NIN, to bank account and mobile wallet slowed the process. He added that the issues have now been resolved and the remaining 7 million households will be paid before the end of the year. He also explained that the intervention is part of President Tinubu's strategy to cushion the effects of subsidy removal and exchange rate harmonization on vulnerable Nigerians. You're still listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We're now heading to the news analyst segment. Joining me today, I have Dr. Peter Anosike. He is a revered author and, of course, a political analyst as well. Always a pleasure to have you here. Good afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure to have you here. Dr. Peter Anosike is also the author of the book Abuse of Power: How Democracy Turned into Tyranny of the Few. Thank you for having us here. I guess we'll be talking about democracy today later on in the conversation when we talk about Governor Sim Fubara resuming today. He's not been seen around the government house yet. His supporters have been around. They've been waiting for him. They've been singing. They've been dancing. They are ready to welcome him back. But no one knows his whereabouts yet. But then let's actually go to the southeast. Start from there. There was an Ipob commander that recently security agents told us that he was arrested. His name is Ifeanyi Okorinta, but his alias is Gentle the Yahoo. Now a video has surfaced. It's actually a very long video. This video is as long as 20 minutes. An excerpt from the video, actually, you can hear him talking about how Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma was trying to get them on his side for nefarious purposes. First up, what do you make of that? This is someone who is known for criminal activities around the southeast. Shouldn't we be taking whatever he says with a pinch of salt?
Well, the video was not recorded before his arrest. It was recorded before his arrest.
Yes, on April.
Understand?
In April this year.
So we cannot say that he was confessing. We cannot say that he was confessing or he was trying to indict Uzodinma. This is a recorded video, and everybody know that since 2019, Imo State has known no peace. Some areas like Mbano in Imo State or Kigwe, there's no single police station there. Imo State has been under siege since Governor Hope Uzodinma was elected, was appointed governor, and everybody know that everybody know what happened to Ikenga Ugochinyere, who is the House of Reps member representing Idaho North and South. He was almost assassinated, and we know that it was his opponents that were behind it. And there was even a video of Hope Uzodinma's wife going about telling people, don't vote for that young boy. He is insulting my husband. A video of Uzodinma's wife going about telling people, don't vote for that young boy. He is insulting my husband. So when you see what the person said and what Hope Uzodinma's wife said, you see that or there's a link. And we also saw what happened during the second Imo governorship election, that actually there was no election in Imo State. There was no election in Imo State. Uzodinma won all the local governments, even though there was no government going on. everybody was scared of coming out to vote. So for me, from my experience, from the phone call that I've made to people in Imo State, there are elements of truth in what he's saying.
You believe what this person is saying, even though he has a history of criminality and attacks against his own people. I mean, why wouldn't he throw Hope Uzodinma's name in there to kind of just make it look as if, oh, there are people who want us to work for them, there are people who see what we are doing, there are people who want to make sure that insecurity persists in the southeast, and there are people who are leaders of the southeast.
Mind you, this video was recorded before his arrest. Assuming it is after his arrest, we can say that he is making a confessional statement and now trying to rope Hope Uzodinma in. But this before many months before he was arrested. So he was not making any confessional statement in that video. And anybody from Imo State, especially also, that's where Hope Uzodinma comes from, in Borno, Mbano or Kigwe, will tell you that what that man said is true. Imo State is under siege. Imo State is like Borno, is Zamfara in southeast. That's why I say there's an element of truth in what he's saying. And anybody from those areas will confirm what he said.
This is not the only person that certain people living within that region has pointed to as being responsible for some of the insecurity that is being witnessed around there. There is a video currently of the traditional leader of an area called Ako talking about the ordeal that the people of Ako face in the hands of this guy, Ifanyo Korenta, with the alias Gentle the Yahoo. This person is saying that the king ran away from his kingdom 4 years ago after being kidnapped and tortured by these people and his Ipob boys. These are people who claim that they are out for self-determination. Was it not if the criminal activities that they were met doing that would actually even lead anyone to want to say, okay, you know what, come and work for me? That is if indeed he's saying the truth about Hope Uzodinma.
No, I said some criminals masquerade as Ipob to commit atrocities. Some criminals hide under the gap of Ipob to commit criminal activities. That's why I keep on saying that those who are committing the atrocities in Southeast are not true members of Ipob. It is criminal elements masquerading under the name of Ipob, because you cannot be asking for self-determination and you are killing those you want to govern. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Just last month, that was in August, there was a very gory video making the rounds on social media where 3 young men were unfortunately, tragically, and senselessly murdered by a man with a gun. I don't know if you watched that video, if you read that report. This person was saying they took his guns and they went to use it for robbery and he shot them. And many people within that area who recognize the voice are saying it is this person who has now been captured by Nigerian security forces that was in that video and shot those young men brazenly.
I can't remember the real video because a lot of things are coming out in Imo State. Very terrible stories, especially Ono, that's also Mbano or Kigwe area. Police don't operate in those areas. Military don't operate in those areas. These kingpins, even there are some parts of Imo State where the native pay tax before they can go out. So 90% of things that's coming out of Imo State are reported. Everybody's afraid because Imo State is not safe. As I said, Imo State is the Zamfara of Southeast. Borno of Southeast.
But what would Governor Hope Uzodinma gain from getting criminals to attack his opponents or from getting them to terrorize his people? What does this stand to gain? This is someone who is already the governor of the state, the #1 man in the state. Why does he need to liaise with criminals? Even did this special.
One, he came to power through the back door. He never won an election. He never won an election. He came to power through the back door.
He was announced winner. How can we sit here from Lagos and say he never won an election?
He never won an election. No Imo indigene will tell you that Uzodinma won the election. That's why he's been called Supreme Court governor. At the end of the election, he came fourth, distant fourth. Imo State have 27 local government. He won only 2 local governments. So from the back door, he became a governor. So people never voted for him. And the only way to rule, if you know that the people don't like you, is to become a dictator. And that's exactly what is happening in Imo State. Why is Imo State more security in Imo State worse than the other states in the southeast? Because there was no election in Imo State. So when people don't vote for you, you must become a dictator because you know that the people don't like you.
You know, how can you in one breath say he only wants 2 local governments and then in another breath say the people never voted for him? If he wants 2 local government, that means they will.
So if you score 2 over 27 in an exam, you did well. If you score 2 over 27 in an exam,
you know, that just showed that he had his own supporters. He did have his own supporters.
In 2 local governments.
Whatever we say right now, he is the governor of the state, which brings me back to the question: what does he stand to gain by liaising with criminals, if indeed this person is saying the truth? And also, why is it now that this video is making the rounds? Is it to deflect from the fact that this person has been involved in criminality, he's now been captured and will face the full extent of the law? Is this person trying to deflect the blame right now to make it look as if the people responsible for insecurity in the southeast are the leaders of the people?
We have been saying this over and over. We have been saying this over and over that that it is politicians that are sponsoring the criminal elements in the southeast. So it is not new. The issue is somebody is now coming to name somebody. Somebody has now come out to name somebody. So that is the information here. But in the mind of the people, we know what is happening in Imo State. Why is it only in Imo State? How many bad news do you hear from Abia State? So for me, it is because he was not voted by the people. He has to resort to arms. And that's the only way he can rule. And I bet Uzodinma will never be in Imo State after the end of his tenure.
You think he's going to run away?
He will run away. He will run away before the end of his tenure.
Why would he need to run away? Do you think his people will turn on him when he no longer has that immunity protection as governor?
It is the government power that is protecting him. Because a lot of atrocities have been committed in Imo State under his watch.
All right, let's go to Rivers State, where Governor Sim Fubara is expected to resume today after the state of emergency was lifted yesterday by President Tinubu. One would expect that he would actually have given a broadcast the way he did on March 18, but instead he sent out a statement saying, well, it's time for everybody to come back, the deputy governor, the state governor, the House of Assembly members, and of course the Rivers State Assembly was preparing to sit this morning, but quite a number of people have been asking, where is Governor Fubara? Even while his supporters gathered to welcome him. Would you say the governor is, maybe he's shy to come out?
Well, when you were introducing this story, you said when the democracy was restored. Understand me? That's your statement. So for me, what happened in Rivers State was a dictatorship. Understand? It was dictatorship. You cannot in a democracy remove an elected governor and put an unelected person. So it is an aberration. It is harakiri. So, and for me, the 6 months of Ibas is shameful to those who understand what democracy means. It is very shameful for those who understand what democracy means. And at the end of the day, it is Nyesom Wike that won this fight. It is Nyesom Wike that won this fight because his wish had been made. his 27 renegade House of Assembly members is now back. And Amawene is from his own constituency. I mean, the speaker. So, and now, Simi Fubara is going to rule like a captured dog because he's not free. Any shift, they will impeach him. So he's going to rule as a coward. Nyesom Wike, as we speak, is now the unseen governor of Rivers State. Nyesom Wike is now in power. Why Fubara is in government? And it is those in power that controls those who are in government. So it is Nyesom Wike that won this fight, not the people of Rivers State. It is Nyesom Wike that won this fight, not the people of Rivers State.
You know, the sole administrator did conduct the local government elections, which was largely won by the APC, and quite a number of people see that.
That's the agreement. That's the arrangement.
Just handing over. The APC is meant to be an opposition party in that state, especially since Fubara is a PDP governor. The PDP has told him, stay with us, don't defect, stay with us, and we'll protect you. Meanwhile, the APC is saying, come to us and we will protect you. Will Fubara be better off staying with the PDP or defecting to the APC?
Fubara has been beaten to submission. So he has no alternative than to join the APC.
So you foresee him joining the APC?
I foresee him. I say he has no confidence in himself anymore. He is battered.
So joining the APC for his own protection, or because he sees that as
for his own safety. Then he will now be begging if there's any way they will allow him to go for second term. Because Wike has said that he will not go second term. So he will now try to be a good boy so that he can go for second term. So he is now, he has been beaten to submission. So he is going to rule as a coward. A governor of a state, the chief secretary officer of a state will now be taking order from somebody else. So it is very, very shameful.
It's quite unfortunate. Yesterday, a video surfaced showing some security aids attached to the now former sole administrator, preventing him from leaving the Rivers State government house and saying he's trying to leave with the state resources.
That doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense?
There are banks. He doesn't have to carry Ghana must go of money and begin to this thing. Go. So what they should be fighting is pay us our allowances, pay us our salaries, pay us hours for the services that we did under your inaugural administration. So it's not that he's carrying Ghana must go of River State resources. No.
You know, the people of Rivers are actually rejoicing and they're happy to have their governor back. They gathered this morning en masse in their numbers to welcome the governor back. But the question remains, where is Fubara? We've not seen videos of him, you know, going doing that triumphant entry into the government house.
Triumphant
returning
entry
to where he left.
He's coming in as a coward. So
you keep repeating that, and I really prefer if you could use another word, because when you call a democratically elected governor a coward, it makes it look like you are really looking at him like he belongs on the ground, he belongs to the dust. Even if you say he has been trampled upon and he will now be ruling by proxy, he's ruling on behalf of somebody else. Even if that is what it is, wouldn't you say that cowardice is a whole stretch? What could he have done if he was fighting against the powers that be? The minister of the FCT, who is on the side of the president of the Federal Republic, and the court seems to also be on the side. What else could Fubara have done that he did not do? Would you have expected him to resign immediately the emergency rule was declared? So what is it you want him to do that he did not do that makes you keep harping on him being a coward?
Assuming that Fubara has said, I will not take this, I resign.
You think that would have shown
he would have been in the rank of Nelson Mandela. People will have praised him forever.
This is the man who hasn't been in office for up to 3 years, and you want him to resign just like that?
That's selfish interest. Selfish interest. He doesn't care about his name. Fubara would have been better off. Fubara would have been a hero if he had resigned. Than now coming in, with he's like a dog with his tail tucked between his two legs. For me, he disappointed big time.
All right. The assembly is sitting right now, and of course, the speaker is someone who is loyal to the FCT minister Nyesom Wike, Martin Amewule. He has never agreed with Governor Fubara before.
And from Obia or local government. So Wike strategy, you can put him there to become governor if Fubara messed up.
So you feel what everybody is looking up to now is for Fubara to mess up again, so that someone else can take charge. But if anything causes Fubara to leave right now, the deputy is supposed to be the one to take charge.
The idea was to impeach Fubara, the deputy, let Martin become the governor.
Is it still impossible for that to happen right now, since the assembly still has the power to impeach the governor?
It depends on if Fubara steps on the wrong foot, he's off. If Fubara refuses to be a boy, he is off. So Wike is now the unseen governor of Rivers State.
The sole administrator said he was able to save Rivers State from slipping into paralysis by holding the state up while Governor Fubara was in suspension.
For me, he should be ashamed of himself that somebody used him to destroy democracy. He should be ashamed of himself. But in Nigeria, we don't have men of integrity. We don't have men of honor.
Not one person that you can point to in this whole country of over 200 million people.
This is a country of Sodom and Gomorrah.
All right, that's a very pessimistic outlook, when you look at it, comparing Nigeria to Sodom and Gomorrah. But Atiku, that is the presidential candidate of the PDP in the 2022 elections and former vice president, has said that President Tinubu is acting like a dictator, and what he did was an illegal removal of a democratically elected governor. And anyone celebrating the fact that Fubara is back right now is also part of that illegality.
I agree with him. I agree with him. Because what happened on March 18th is autocracy. It is dictatorship. It is fascism. And the Ibas should be ashamed for having been used to achieve that. Because it was democracy that was turned upside down. So democracy died in Nigeria on that March 18th. So what Atiku said is the truth.
All right, there is a video of the outgoing administrator swearing in the head of service, making his final broadcast. He listed his achievement in the state before he left. But if you remember George Mweke, who resigned, it was just about a week after the state of emergency was declared. At some point, his wife came out to say she doesn't know the whereabouts of her husband, and then at some point, George Mweke
he was seen in Abuja in a hotel giving information.
Came out to give information, talking about how the Governor Fubara did this, and he said a whole lot. Then what becomes of people like that who were thrown into confusion and disarray when the state of emergency was announced?
He was sponsored. He is on the side of Wike, so nothing will happen. So, and the IBAS has no right to appoint a head of government, but the issue
all he did was swear them in.
Appointed by who? I cannot be governor, and somebody else will appoint my. It doesn't happen.
But does Fubara have the power to now reappoint now that he's back? Even though we haven't seen him.
We will see him. He's trying to build up confidence because he disappointed a lot of people. So the head of service it is the governor that should appoint. But because of fear, Fubara may allow him that to still stay there. Because of fear. And even for him to reappoint, he has to seek permission from Nyesom Wike. They were in UK for some days. Do you know what they discussed there? So he is coming like a man who is down, and he is completely down.
Doesn't that mean he needs all the support that he can get?
From who?
The time for Nigerians and the people of Rivers
when the emperor is
rally
still there.
Around him.
When the emperor is still there.
If you admit that there is an emperor, then why do you keep calling the man a coward? What could he have done?
Resign. If Fubara has resigned, Nigeria will continue to praise him for the next 100 years. Nigeria will continue to use him as an example till the next 100 years. That is discipline, that is integrity. So now coming in from the back door, understand? So assuming that he did right, he would have been there 6 a.m. this morning. But each morning before he comes out, he has to, Wike will have to give him a script. So it is governance that is going to suffer in Rivers State.
All right, let's quickly talk about the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, saying that the federal government has disbursed 330 billion naira to 8.5 million poor households under the conditional cash transfer program, with each household getting at least one tranche of 25,000 naira. Now, you recall that the World Bank had approved an $800 million loan for this administration to fund the initiative. It's targeting 15 million poor households. Can 25,000 naira take people out of poverty? Even if they get 25,000 naira every month for 6 years.
That's not even all the question. Who and who has received it?
You know, I produced the morning show on TV this morning, and somebody called in saying they actually received 75,000 naira and they don't know anybody in government. So at least that is one person that I know.
Out of 5 million. Out of 5 million, you have asked that person what is the criteria to qualify for that.
That's what she said. She doesn't know, that she just got a call, was asked to send her account number, and then she sent it, and then she got 75,000 there and was told this from the government.
That's a manna from heaven.
Could be. The pastors are always preaching on merited favor.
So for me, I see that as a way of a conduit pipe for stealing Nigerian resources, because we don't have data. They did not tell us how somebody qualifies for the loan, and there's nowhere in the world that the most vulnerable people will have bank accounts and will have phone numbers. That person that made that call is not vulnerable. I hope you agree with me.
That such a person is not vulnerable?
It's not
How
vulnerable.
do you know they are not vulnerable? Do you live with them?
There's no way a vulnerable Nigerian will have bank account, will have a phone number, be recharging that phone. He is not vulnerable. If we go by the word, by the word vulnerable. So for me, it is a way of stealing Nigeria resources. Okay, they have distributed over 8 billion. And only one person called you and said that...
It's actually about 330 billion naira to 8.5 million poor households. 8.5 million households all across the country. And the target is 15 million poor households.
And they've distributed 30 billion.
330 billion naira.
330 billion. Well, for me, this is a waste of resources. Because one, 25,000 naira cannot do anything to a family. It cannot sustain a family. And that is one. Then such money that come easily cannot be invested. Assuming there's an environment for invest. This money would have been good channeled to infrastructural development. Because palliative cannot make anybody rich, cannot make a country rich.
And Nigerians know this, how come the government continues to run this policy of sharing palliatives or sharing money instead of investing it in a way to make people, instead of giving someone fish, teaching them how to fish, maybe for skills acquisition, teaching people how to be bosses of their own?
Well, Oshibajo was reduced to sharing money. Oshibajo was going from one market to the other, sharing 10,000. At the end of the day, how many people became empowered with that 10,000 naira? The answer is none. Umar Farouk That's also had his own Minister of Humanitarian that's our faith. What an impact? None. So they are not learning from countries that have done such things. They are not learning from countries that has done that. Because for me, this 25,000 naira is not. It will not help anybody. It will not help anybody. If they had channeled it into productivity, I read a report on Monday that over 80 million Nigerians have no job to do. Over 80 million. And 2 days ago, the EFCC chairman was talking about cybercrime. For me, I say government caused it. Because an idle hand is a devil's workshop. When 80 million youths have no job to do, they must look for a job for themselves. When government fail to provide a job, they will provide it for themselves. And it will not be a very good one. So that's where we are.
It's quite unfortunate, but we'll continue to hold the government accountable to ensure that they make policies that will make life easier for the average Nigerian. But are you saying you will not be happy to receive 25,000 naira free of charge? Money that you not work for?
What can it do for me?
One or two things.
I don't need it. There are people who need it, but they don't have the data of such people. A lot of Nigerians need it more than me. So they should go to those people, but they are not doing it.
All right, then this is where we'll draw the curtain on the World News at 12 today. Thank you so much, Dr. Peter Noske, for joining me on the news today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure to have you here. You have been listening to World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that the military airstrikes has killed scores of terrorists and destroyed an insurgent base in Borno State. Captured Ipob commander names Hope Uzodinma in viral video. Supporters trooped Rivers government house ahead of Governor Fubara's return, and Finance Minister reveals 25,000 naira cash disbursement to 8.5 million poor households. That is a wrap on the World News at 12. My name is Chioma Innocent. Good afternoon and thank you for listening. Do stay tuned. Matters will be coming up by 1:30 p.m. with Solomon Ofem.